Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going on an absolutely incredible journey. I want you to imagine, just for a second, that we could shrink ourselves down, smaller and smaller, until we're tiny enough to step right inside the amazing, powerful world hidden in every single leaf and stem. We're about to take a tour of a bustling, microscopic metropolis, the plant cell. Now, you gotta forget any idea that a plant cell is just some simple, boring blob. Nope. Instead, I want you to picture a totally self-contained, perfectly designed factory city. It is absolutely bustling with activity, and every single part has a super specific job to do, all working together to keep the whole plant alive and growing. It's amazing. So, at its heart, what even is a cell? Well, it's the fundamental building block of all life. Think about it like this. If a plant is a massive skyscraper, then each individual cell is a single essential brick. You need millions of these tiny, powerful units all working together to build everything from a little blade of grass to a giant redwood tree. Okay, every good tour has to have a starting point, right? So as we approach our microscopic city, the very first thing we run into are its pretty formidable outer defenses. Let's go see what they're made of. Any secure city needs protection, and believe me, the plant cell has two layers of it. On the very outside, you've got the cell wall, this rigid, strong fortress that gives the cell its whole structure and shape. But right inside that wall is the cell membrane, and you can think of that like a security gate, carefully controlling exactly what gets to come in and what has to go out. So, you might be wondering, why does a plant cell need such a tough, rigid wall in the first place? Well, it's actually pretty simple. That rigidity is what lets a plant defy gravity and stand up tall. It provides all the structural support and protection it needs from the outside world. Seriously, without it, a plant would just be a floppy mess on the ground. All right, we've made it past the city's security. Now we can venture deeper inside. We're heading straight for the core infrastructure, the control centers and power stations that run this entire operation. So, the whole factory floor is filled with this jelly-like stuff called cytoplasm. It cushions and holds all the machinery in place. Then, right in the center, you'll find the most important building of all, the nucleus. This is basically City Hall, the control center that holds the DNA, the master blueprints for literally everything the cell does. And of course, no city can run without electricity, and that is the job of the mitochondria, the power plants that generate energy for every single activity. So what kind of activities are we talking about here? What does this cellular power plant actually need to fuel? Well, everything. All the essential stuff. We're talking about growth, repair, building new parts, every single process that keeps the cell alive and functioning. The mitochondria power the whole shebang. All right, we've seen the defenses and the city's core. Now we're headed to the department that makes this factory truly unique. This is where we find the specialized equipment that really sets a plant cell apart from all the others. This is where it gets good. And in here, we find two pieces of machinery that make this factory so special. First up, the chloroplasts. These are the city's own solar panels, and they are masters at capturing sunlight and turning it into food. And then there's this massive central vacuole. Just think of it as the city's giant water reservoir, storing water to keep the entire cell hydrated and rigid. Okay, so if the chloroplasts are solar panels making food, what do they need to get the job done? You probably know this one. They need three key ingredients: sunlight, water, and of course, carbon dioxide. Okay, so our city has defenses, a command center, power, and even its own food source. But a factory also needs to build stuff and then transport it. So for our next stop, welcome to the assembly line and the logistics department. In here, you've got the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ER for short. It acts like a high-tech conveyor belt, this huge network that moves proteins and other materials all around the factory. Now, once those products are assembled, they get sent over to the Golgi bodies, which is basically the factory's post office. It packages them all up for delivery wherever they're needed. And that completes our tour of the factory's main departments. But to really understand what makes this city so special, let's zoom out for a second and see how it compares to its close relative, the animal cell. So let's do a quick roll call of our factory's all-star team. You've got the nucleus as the boss, the mitochondria running the power plant, and the chloroplasts managing the solar farm. The cell wall stands guard as the fortress, with the ER and Golgi bodies running the assembly line and shipping. It's an amazing team for sure. Let's see how it stacks up.
So if you look at them side by side, you'll see they share a lot of the same core machinery. I mean, both have a nucleus as a control center and mitochondria for power. But there are two huge, game-changing differences. First, animal cells don't have that rigid outer wall. They just have a flexible membrane. And second, and this is so crucial, they have no chloroplasts. They can't make their own food.
And that is the ultimate takeaway right there. While they share the same basic operating system, it's that protective cell wall and the food-making chloroplasts that truly define a plant cell. Honestly, those two features are what make a plant a plant. They literally change everything.
Which leaves us with one final kind of massive thought to chew on. If just one of these microscopic cells is a complete, totally self-sustaining factory city, then what does that make an entire forest? It's just an incredible scale to try and comprehend. Thanks so much for joining me on this tour.